eliminating that hanging belly, like these bellies up here. We're trying to get rid of that without tummy tuck, no BMI restrictions. Those of you who have been turned down other places, told that you have to have a tummy tuck and you don't want one, there are options, there are choices, and we're here to show you about that today. So if you decide that you're ready to make some serious changes in your life, and this is really, see, I'm looking really to attract the people that are really serious about the transformation, because what I found is that if you take this seriously and you transform your life and transform your habits and create positive habits, that you can create long-term results that last. And not only the long-term results that last, but if you commit to change, you can change every other aspect of your life as well and make the biggest, most dramatic improvements to live your best life. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is live your best life. And now the big question is, what does that mean, live your best life? And for each of you, it's going to be a little bit different, because it's not a end point, it's a journey. It's along the road, and you're just going to constantly try to improve as you're going along this path. And so together we can try to identify different ways of improvement. And as you identify the shortcomings that you may have, and you might decide that you want to make some changes in your life, because there's a lot of different things that we were programmed at a young age to believe that this is the way our life is. You know, we're programmed to believe that we have to eat 3 meals a day. We're programmed to believe that we're supposed to work 8 hours a day, and we're supposed to get up at, whatever time in the morning and go to work and work from, 9 to 5. Like we were programmed to believe that. But as many of you know, you work swing shifts. You can work now 24 hours a day. You can work from home. You don't, the labels and things that we had done in the past, it's not that things are changing. And so if you're open to change, you can change a lot of things in your life and make a huge dramatic difference. But if you're not open to change, then you're going to continue doing the same things that you've been doing over time. And when you do the same things, you'll get the same results. So what's happened with many of us is we've done the same things for decades, and that's accumulated this body that we don't like. And we've accumulated this personality because of the actions and things that we've done over the years that we don't like. So when you're ready to change, and this is, you have to get this point, this apex where you're so sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're so sick of just this body that you've created that is limiting you and embarrassing you and putting you in a situation where you can't do the things that you want to do with your life, and it's restricting you. Many of you may be hiding. And how do you hide? You cover up. You avoid pictures. You avoid seeing people that you haven't seen because you don't want them to see you. You're embarrassed. You avoid going to functions, whether it's parties or engagements, or you avoid, and you're hiding. Publicly on Facebook or social media, you don't post full pictures. You'll post your head. And you only post the specific angles that are appealing to you. And this is hiding. You're constantly hiding. And so it's not, it's in most cases what happens is you have this level of insecurity where you don't want to show a certain side of you. You don't want to create this vulnerability and allow people to see this side of you. So you box out, right? Meaning you say, okay, I'm not going to show anything below my head. Or if I do, I'm going to be wearing these Spanx that pull everything in and make it look a certain way. Or, if I'm going to show my face, I got to make sure that I have makeup and all these other things to make it look a certain way. And you got to realize, well, all you're doing is you're creating this illusion, because none of us are perfect, right? None of us are perfect. And so you create this illusion. We all do it. I put stuff in my hair to make it look a certain way. This is not the way my hair normally is. When I get out of the shower and it dries, it's all over the place. But I don't like that. So I do something to make it look a certain way. Women, you put makeup on your face. Like, your face isn't naturally like that, but you're creating an illusion. It's all an illusion. Once you realize that, you can start to manipulate that illusion and create the body that you want. Now, you can do that through, garments and things of that nature, or you can do it through things like liposuction, which physically remove the fat and create the shapes out of your body. Because the truth is that your shapes are already there. We already, as human beings, we already have these natural bone structures, that everything in muscular structures, everything is basically, it's ingrained in our DNA. This is the way it is. And so larger individuals, it's essentially as if you're putting a blanket around, and think of it as a blanket of fat, and it just covers up the shapes. The shapes are already there. The shapes are already there. The curves of your hourglass figure, the shape of your lower back, stuff's already there. So we're not creating something, and we're just uncovering what you already have. You know, Audra here, she already had the potential of that hourglass figure, but you look at her in the before picture, and she's like SpongeBob SquarePants. She filled in that midsection, and so many of you do that. Through decades of bad habits. Things that cause you to gain weight. Decades of it, usually, of the habits that we do. And we just fill in. She naturally had that curve, it was already there. She just filled in, and that filling in creates that square shape. And you start looking and feeling like SpongeBob. And when I say that, I hope it's like scratching nails on a chalkboard, because it's such a visual, and you totally understand. If you have that shape, that square shape, and I say SpongeBob, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you probably hate it so much. And here's the good news, is we can solve your problem. And it's not that difficult. Check out Audra. This is amazing that you can go from this frumpy look, this fullness, this squareness, to an hourglass figure in a short period of time. Now, there's going to be a healing process after these procedures, so it's not a snap your fingers and you're done. It's you get the procedure, then you get some swelling, bruising, and the healing process takes some time, so it's going to take a little bit of time to see the final results. However, and this is a big however, is in removing such a large volume of fat, you always see the results immediately after the procedure. It's inevitable. You have to, because when you remove that much volume, that everything just collapses. There's nothing there to hold it up anymore. The only reason you're bigger like that is because all the fat is holding the skin out. Once you take it away, the skin collapses. It goes down to what your natural shape is. Smoochie, you like that, SpongeBob? It's pretty funny, right? I've been saying it for a long time, but the funny thing is I've been doing consultations lately, and people are mentioning it. They refer to themselves in that way, and it's one of those things that I'm not trying to offend people, and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but it's a terminology, a word that will symbolize to you a specific look, and it makes visually so you understand what I'm talking about and what we're trying to solve. The problem that we're trying to solve for you is that when you have that square shape, that shape, when we call it the SpongeBob SquarePants, when you get that squareness about you, that's what we're trying to solve, and that's what we are solving. And we're creating these hourglass figures that are amazing. Do waist training really work? So, okay, what is waist training? Waist training is utilizing these specific garments that go around, and the garments are, when you put them on, they come in a certain shape. And so what they do is they train your body essentially to accommodate and mold to the shape of these waist trainers. So the short answer, yes, they do work. However, when you get larger, it's not likely that you're going to train the fat to shrink up. It's just not going to happen. So you could create the shapes with these waist trainers, and again, it's an illusion. Okay, you're creating an illusion. So when you put these waist trainers on, it's cinching everything into that shape, and it's bringing the shape together. Now, this is one of our patients who had a lot of success with doing this waist trainer thing. And what it actually does is it starts to mold your ribs into a position where if you hold it in a position long enough, they'll start to accommodate, and your body will start to bring in this different shape. The big if is you got to have the fat out of the way in order to create these really these elongated curves that these girls are getting with the waist trainers. The only way to get that is when the fat's out of the way. If you put it on her before she had a liposuction, you're not going to get the same results. Certainly not the same results. But I would suggest afterwards. And Smoochie, you can meet up. This is Her name is Blanquita on Facebook, Blanquita Rios, and she's on here regularly, and she's happy to talk with you. If you're not on the private Facebook group yet, you should definitely get on the private Facebook group. And so you're going to go to Facebook and you're going to search My Shape Lipo Support Group. And on that group there, we have many of our previous patients who are there sharing their experience. So a lot of these pictures that you see behind us are the actual people, our actual patients that are sharing the stuff publicly. So they share their stuff publicly, so then you can connect with them publicly. That's what these forums are great for. So when we have the support group, it works as almost as if you have a friend or a family member who have had the procedure. These girls are all, they're connected with one another and they're helping each other, and it's we work together to get these results. All right, let me see if I can get caught up here on your Instagram questions. Okay, I'm currently going to the gym and eating low carb. I am very interested in inner thigh lipo. How well does inner thigh skin tighten back up? I'm afraid to have sagging. So the skin is, how well it tightens up. It always tightens up, but the question is how well for you. And everybody has different potential. The inner thigh is a area that is typically thinner, looser skin. And we are aware of that, and because we're aware of that, we utilize a smart lipo laser in conjunction with the liposuction. And with the laser can get you up to 57% more skin tightening, and it creates more collagen and thicker skin. So the results are great. We show a lot of the pictures are the before and afters of the abdomen because that's just the most common. But you got to think of this conceptually. It's the same. All we're just doing is removing fat, and everything. Once you remove the fat, then everything shrinks back down. The skin always retracts all over the body when you do the liposuction. So it's not just the abdomen; it happens all over the place. And the utilization of the smart lipo will help get you more skin tightening. I'm happy that you said polycakes, that you're changing your lifestyle and doing those type of habits, because it's imperative that you change those things in addition to the liposuction. So it's not one or the other. It's not I'm going to get lipo or I'm going to work out and be healthy. It's not one or the other. It's both. If you want to live your best life, it's both. If you want to do what's right for yourself for the long term, it's both. If you want to set an example for your family and your kids and be an inspiration to those around you, then you got to start living a better life, and you got to start eliminating these bad habits. And it's just one little step at a time. One little step. Okay, polycakes. I'm literally going to cry. I've avoided seeing so many friends because I've gained weight and I don't feel like the best version of myself. Then I'm speaking to you, Polly. Today is for you. We've dealt with so many people who have had the same problem, and the only reason I'm able to speak on this is because I know better than you know yourself. In many cases, I can see this in individuals, and I've watched the progression, which is it's the coolest thing. It's the thing that gets me so excited about doing this procedure, is that we're able to help people transform their life. And so when you get so sick of this shit, you're so sick of hiding, then you're ready to change. And when you're ready to change, it's got to be a massive change, not just a little bit of a change, because you've tried little change before. You've tried, your dietary changes and little stuff that you get little bumps in the road, right? We've lost a little bit of weight, but then as soon as you get to where you want to get to, or not even there, something happens in your life, then you go back off and you start, gaining weight again. So it's a matter of making this big decision, and it's just like this one decision, like I'm going to change my life. And once you make that decision, it's easier to start making the consecutive decisions. So what I mean by that is, once you decide that you're so sick of this shit and you're ready to change, once you make that decision, then it's about what's next. Okay, so what's next? And say liposuction is next for you. And with liposuction, it's about getting that consultation, figure out what the cost is, and then start making arrangements. That's a big step in the road. Okay, but it's not the only step. What else do you need to do? What are the things that you're doing that have caused the situation that you're in now? And so then we have to start looking at the habits that you have. Like maybe you're not drinking enough water and you're chronically dehydrated. When you're chronically dehydrated, none of your organs work properly. And if your organs don't work properly, then you're not going to be able to lose weight. So drinking more water. And if you've been dehydrated chronically, then in many cases you have so many toxins within your system that aren't able to get circulated and filtered through your organs, that your organs aren't working right. So if you're toxic, then you got to start cleansing out your system. And so these are just little steps, right? Little steps. And you got to figure out where you need to step in, where you need to start making changes. Your dietary changes. Stop thinking like I'm doing low carb diet, I'm doing keto diet, I'm doing whatever crazy name diet they have out there. Because if you're thinking that you're just going to do a diet's short term. What happens when it's over? You're going to go back to the old way, and if you go back to the old way, it's just going to go right back up to where you were before. So it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. You have to change and start eating foods that are healthy for you, that you can eat forever, and you don't have to think about it. So nobody got fat eating too much broccoli. It just doesn't happen. Or Brussels sprouts, or green beans, or leafy green vegetables, kale. Nobody gets fat off of eating that stuff. But so you can eat as much as you want of that, as much as you want. Fruit's great. No, people don't get fat off eating fruit. Sometimes if you eat there's a lot of sugar, so some people's systems can't handle that appropriately. So you got to start thinking, just eat more vegetables, more fruit, less meat. Simple, basic rules. I love having simple, basic rules because I don't like to think that much. If you can program yourself into these new rules, then you don't have to think about it. Basic things when you're going out to dinner, making decisions. You have to make easy rules so you can continue to make these easy decisions. And if you make it easy to succeed, you'll succeed. It's the people that make it really complex to succeed. Well, I'm going to start waking up at 4 in the morning, and I'm going to go run, and then I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to stop eating altogether. Like when you start making these crazy, ideas that you're going to make these big, huge, dramatic changes, it's got to be bite sizes. The Chinese proverb says that the 1,000-mile race started with the first step. It's just one step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And this is all you have to do. Figure out what the next step for you is. Where do you have to improve? Liposuction is just one of the steps. So, Polly, stop hiding. You got to start taking that first step. Whatever that first step is for you, you got to start taking it. Okay, can you remove visceral fat? We cannot remove visceral fat at this point. And I don't know if there ever will be a point. So just so you guys are aware what visceral fat is the fat behind the muscle. So we have different layers. We have the skin. Behind the skin is a subcutaneous fat layer. So we have a thick layer of fat behind the skin, and then behind that layer is the muscle, stomach muscle. And behind the stomach muscle, we have our internal organs, and then there's a layer of fat that surrounds our internal organs, which is protection. It protects our organs with that fat layer. Now, as you gain weight, the fat in there gets bigger as well. So if you get visceral fat is where that fat layer behind the muscle expands and it bulges the muscle out. So liposuction is obviously very dangerous to go behind the muscle, around the organs. You don't want to hit the organs. So it's not safe to do that. Nobody does that. And I don't think that there's any technologies on the horizons that are ever going to get to the visceral fat. So it's still affecting it with your diet and exercise routines, your lifestyle, we'll call it. So if you have visceral fat issues, you got to start working on the lifestyle changes more than anything else. Okay, let's see. All right. Smoochie says, I'm good shape, but I need more hips. Have no fat for a BBL. That's the opposite effect as many of our patients. They have too much fat. But when you're smaller and you're looking to do BBL, or you need more volume in other areas, if you don't have that volume, the recommendation is to gain 5-10 pounds. In many cases, that'll fill the fat stores, and we can take it out and transfer it over. So the answer, Smoochie, is just gain a few pounds. It's ultimately up to you, depending on what your level of desire is and how hard you want to work at this. but it's definitely possible. Uh, and I've had some individuals. I had this one lady that was she was a world class bodybuilder and had body fat of like 5%. And she comes to me and she has no butt, and she had stopped training as a bodybuilder, and wanted to have a more shall we say normal shape. And she had no butt, any fat on the butt, so she wanted to transfer some over there, but she didn't really have fat anywhere. So so I suggested that she gain some weight, which for her was very difficult because she has ingrained in her the habits and such to keep her at this really lean weight. So, but it is possible. So that's the thing the reason why I told this story is it is possible even for those individuals that are very, very lean. It is possible to gain weight. Everybody has fat on them. So if you gain enough weight, then those fat stores will expand, and if they expand enough, then we can get the fat to transfer it over. Okay, is there a difference between traditional lipo and smart lipo? There is. Well, smart lipo is actually a laser. It's a brand name for a laser that we utilize for skin tightening. Traditional lipo is a term that gets thrown around that really doesn't exist anymore. Nobody does what this traditional lipo that you hear in the media. Which the irony of this whole situation is that the traditional lipo is typically utilized in the media in a way to manipulate you towards liposuction. So the new techniques are where we use tumescent technique and done under local anesthetic. That's the newest technique. That's the safest technique. Even the plastic surgeons who still do it the old way, where they put you to sleep, because that would be more traditional liposuction, where they put you to sleep and then they use larger instrumentation. However, since the tumescent technique is so safe nowadays, even when they put you to sleep, they utilize the tumescent technique as well, just because it's the easiest, it's the best, it's the results are proven. So I guess the answer for you is the difference between traditional lipo and smart lipo. It's not, you wouldn't want one or the other. Nobody's doing traditional lipo anyways, but the smart lipo is in addition to. So you'll see like this picture behind me, this individual had this large hanging belly, and then we take the fat out of there and the skin retracts back. Well, we need the skin to retract back the maximum amount, so we utilize a smart lipo laser to get us up to 57% more skin tightening. And you can see that fold, it disappears. And there's no tummy tucker, no cutting, no removal of skin, none of that stuff. Polycakes, man, you keep it real. I appreciate you. Well, I'm just trying to do my job. I tell you how I see it. Okay. Did you do Tati Beauty Pro Lipo? Yes, I did. Okay, do you recommend doing lipo and breast augmentation within the same day? So, just to be on the level playing field here, is I don't do breast augmentation in terms of putting implants in. We don't do fat, the implants. However, we do breast augmentation with fat. So we do fat transfer. So when we take the fat out of one area, we can transfer it in to give you a natural enhancement with fat. Now, there's advantages and disadvantages. The advantages is it's natural. It looks and feels natural and normal because it's your fat, so it has a natural feel to it. The negative is that the limitations on how big we can go. We can only go as big as your skin will allow it to stretch out. Now, when they do implants, they are able to create an abnormal shape. So that you can take the shape of this implant and they stuff it in there, and then they can pull it around there, where they can basically create a specific shape, as opposed to when we inject the fat, we're subject to whatever the shape of your skin is. I prefer obviously the fat transfer because, and I've done fat transfer for my wife for her breast. It's an awesome procedure. It works well. And it is very natural. I like that. There's no big scars, which is awesome. The recovery is easy. The other thing is that when you do implants, typically the recommendation is to get them revised, which means another surgery. Every 10 years is the recommendations. And if you don't get them revised, then there's a whole host of problems that can't happen. And if you're following the media now, a lot of people, a lot of women now that got the implants, 10, 20, 30 years ago are now removing them altogether. And then, it is what it is. So the choice is yours. If you did go with the route of fat transfer, then you have to do liposuction because it's the removal of fat, then taking that fat and transferring it over. Okay, Elizabeth says she wants to do lipo on her arms, lower and upper stomach, and back, and fat transfer. Awesome. It's pretty common. The most common areas is the midsection. It's typically where we start with our patients. Is that take care of the biggest problem first, which is usually the abdomen. It brings your body back into a normal proportion, and then after we finish that, then we'll start working on more of the proportions of the upper body and the arms and the lower body, things of that nature. But Elizabeth, if you're ready to get started with this and ready to move to the next step, then the next step in the process is getting your consultation. Up on Facebook in the post here, there's a link for the consultation, in which case you can upload the photos. And our expedited consultation is a $100 charge. We do have a free consultation, but we're booked out for a few months and delayed on that. So if you're looking to get this done quickly, then it's a $100 consultation and it'll be deducted from your procedure costs. What's up, Larita? Okay. So again, I'm just going to kind of reiterate I've been doing this for 15 years and thousands of procedures, and I've seen patterns over the years, and the people that tend to get the best results, I'm starting to understand more and more how and why they're getting the results. And as it turns out, it's partially physical in that some individuals they have the capacity to heal better. They have a better body shape that responds better to these procedures. However, the biggest part was more so the mindset afterwards and the thought process. And this is a basic thought process: is if you were thinking that doing the liposuction was going to allow you to do more of the same stupid shit you did in the past, if you thought that doing liposuction was going to allow you to do more of the stupid shit that you did in the past, then it's inevitable that you're just going to get bigger in the future. Because if you do the same stupid stuff, you're going to get the same stupid results. So the people that actually have long-term results and continue to get better and better and better, it's a consistent lifestyle change. So let me repeat that. It's a consistent lifestyle change. And the people that are able to achieve these amazing results, it never ends. It's not like you get your results after a year. You get really good after a year. But then the next year, it's even better. And the next year after that, it's even better. If you can continue on this steady path of improvement, it just will constantly get better. Your life will constantly get better. This is the way this works. When you see other people, you're like, how come life looks so easy for them? They don't struggle. They look good. They're in shape. They're healthy. Why? It's no secret. It's not a secret, not anymore. The information's out there in the public. You just need to pay attention. So I'm trying to point this stuff out to you of what's important. And so then you can start paying attention more to these specific things. And it's not that complex. It's not that difficult. I try to break this down to easy bite-sized pieces. Easy bite-sized pieces. But when you get to this point in your life, and I noticed some patterns, right? It was our patients are overwhelmingly more women. Okay, there's a pattern there, and it tends to be women who have neglected themselves for a period of time, and the neglect will come in a couple different subsects here. So there was the women who had children. The women who had children believe that they need to give everything to their kids. And when they give everything to their kids, they neglect themselves. There's also a professional side where women neglect themselves. So nurses, social workers, people that are in this service industry where they are giving themselves in order to help other people improve their life, right? So they give. Social workers, I can't believe how many social workers we get, how many nurses we get. They give so much, but it's the same giving, it's the same neglect that the mothers, when they were giving to the kids, it's the same mindset. See, this is a mindset. It's the same mindset. It's I'll give up I'll give up health, and I'll give up the things that I need to do on a regular basis so you can have what you need. That's the mindset. And so what happens is these women, they don't eat the right foods because they're less important, is the mindset. They don't do the right exercises because they say they don't have enough time, and the reason that they don't have enough time is because they're helping other people, right? So they neglect themselves. And then what happens is that neglect for decades, it compounds, just like the compound interest in your bank account. It's the same thing. It compounds. A little bit of fat, that fat needs more fat, so you start craving more food. It's your body is a system of chemicals, and when you get more fat in your system, your body starts craving. It has to feed the fat. It's survival of the fittest. So the actual fat in your body emits chemicals that go to your brain and tell you we need more food. And it's a never-ending cycle. It's never ending. So once you can get rid of this stuff, but you have to overcome that craving, overcome that chemical urge that you get. If you have to overcome that, and that takes discipline, right? We call this word discipline. It kind of creeps into here. If you don't have your discipline, then you're not going to be able to stay on this path of improvement. Okay, do you do thigh lifting? I had regular lipo with another doctor like a month and a half ago, and I don't see a change on my thigh. I think they're getting uglier, looser. How long do I have to wait to get modified? Okay, so here's the interesting thing. And you'll see most of the pictures that we have, you'll see how the skin tightens up with the stomach. And so your thighs are no different than your stomach. It's still skin. The technique to get the skin on the stomach to tighten up is the same technique that we utilize to get the thighs to tighten up. You have to take the appropriate amount of fat out in order to allow for that skin to tighten up, because the skin, it's like if you imagine it's just the top layer, and it's going to lay on top of whatever's underneath. So if you don't take out enough fat underneath, or you take out clumpy, like little spots here, spots there, it'll look irregular, or it'll still have this saggy look to it because you didn't get enough fat out. So with the thighs, it's about getting the fat out appropriately, the right way, because if you don't get it out the right way, you're not going to get the results. I just had a patient last week that the exact same thing. She had thigh liposuction somewhere else, didn't get the results that she was looking for. She came to us. We took out a significant more fat, which makes a big dramatic change. And the skin lies flat. It tightens up. It's awesome. Now, there's a caveat here. The inner thigh, the thickness of the skin is very thin on everybody. And so we utilize the smart lipo laser, and it does help. But there's no magic to this stuff. It's got its range of how much it can improve, how much it can be better. So depending on how loose your skin is, there's only so much it's going to do. But it just depends on you're at where you're at now, and if you're okay with a little bit of improvement, it's not perfect. A little bit of improvement, that might be worth it to you. So you have to make these decisions based off of the benefit versus risk ratio. So it's possible that you don't get the results that you're looking for, but the hope is that we don't make it worse. So if we can make it better, and you're okay with it being better but not perfect, then you would probably be happy with this procedure. Okay, I honestly think working out is very important even after surgery. You guys have to start. See, your mindset is like, I'm going to eat the right foods and I'm going to work out so I can look a certain way. The mindset has to be, rather, I'm going to eat the right foods and I'm going to work out so then I can function the right way. So my body works the right way. So I have enough energy to do the basic functions of life that I want to do. I have the ability to move and be flexible in a way that allows you to do everything that you want to do. Like, let's say you're 50 years old and you got grandkids and you want to get on the ground with them. But if you're overweight and have this big belly, it's going to be very difficult to get on the ground, and getting up from the ground is even more of a challenge. So these little things that we can improve by making you leaner, it makes you way more functional. And if you're way more functional, just imagine the things that you can do that you're not doing now. And then what is that worth to you? How important is that to you? And if that's important to you to be able to do more with your life, to take advantage of all life's opportunities, if that's important to you, then you're going to start doing the things that are necessary to achieve that goal. Smoochie. Appreciate you coming by, asking questions. Makes me feel like I'm talking to someone, not just talking to myself in this phone here. Okay, Alicia says, especially with this pandemic, it's hard to eat right and take care of myself, not to mention the stress and depression. Now, I hear you. Nothing in life's easy. Nothing in life's easy. And it shouldn't be. And it's when you start expecting that life is going to be easy is where you start getting let down. And, if you could have the mindset that everything's going to be 10 times harder and you have to work 10 times harder to achieve it, if that's your mindset, then you'll overshoot everything that you do. Meaning you're going to work so hard that the results are inevitable. But if you think I'm going to do the bare minimum, those are failures. Those people drop off. Those people don't ever get to it because it's hard. Because they thought they were going to have to do the bare minimum. And when you think that you're going to have to do the bare minimum, and that's not the truth, that's not reality, that shit never works when you do the bare minimum on anything in your life. Think about it. When you do the bare minimum on anything in your life, it's not sufficient. It's not good enough. So start trying to master your life. How can you master your life? How can you do the best at everything that you do? And start with the little things. Just master the little things.
I think Coochie gave us like 99 cents.
Nice.
Can we cash that out?
Cash that out. Okay, does J plasma really work after lipo? So J plasma is an alternative to like smart lipo laser. It's a different technology. It's the hydrogen plasma. It's like a torch. If you ever see this stuff, you can go Google it and YouTube it, and you see this. It's like literally they have this torch that goes under your skin, and it uses this plasma, they call it, and it does the same conceptually that the smart lipo, where it stimulates the collagen growth and tightens the skin with the use of heat. Does it really work? Yeah, I think it does. Just like the smart lipo really works. It's an energy-based technology, and the energy-based technologies, they definitely do work. How much they work, how well they work, there's variables, right? So there's nothing that's gonna solve all your problems and make it so you never had loose skin. That's just not realistic. Okay, Mustang Sally, what's up? Are the discounts only for new clients? Can you always get in on the great savings if someone needs to have several areas done at different times? So Mustang, Sally, we are universal across the board. We are pretty upfront with everything. Sometimes we run different specials that do exclude some people, but currently we're not running any specials, so that's not really applicable. Smoochy says the energy. That's right. And it's, what? Here's a big thing that you need to start thinking about. Where does the energy come from? Okay, where does the energy come from? Because most people think the energy comes from the food. However, how many times have you eaten a huge meal and then you have to go plop down on the couch because you can't move? You're exhausted or you need to go take a nap. So why is that? If the food is the energy, then why don't you have an abundance of energy after eating? So Here's the answer to that. The answer to that is that when you eat this an abundant amount of food, first of all, there's certain chemicals in the food that make you tired, but it's also your body is going into action where it has to start working. And so as your the food goes into the stomach, all the blood goes to the stomach to start working, and your body goes to work. That utilizes a lot of energy. When it starts going through the bowels, it utilizes a lot of energy, and it basically draws the energy, and so now you don't have the energy to utilize. So paradoxically, you'll find if you ever try fasting when you don't eat for a period of time, once you get over the whole urges of not eating, you realize that the energy that you thought that you were getting from food was not real. In fact, you get more energy when you don't eat, and it's because your body's not utilizing a lot of energy to break down the food. Hopefully that made you think for a second there. And so then you might say, well, I get energy from sleeping. If I sleep, then I have more energy. And then I gotta poke holes in that too, because how many times if you slept a whole 8 hours, and then you get up in the morning and you're groggy eyed, you can't keep your eyes open, you need your coffee. So does the sleep give you the energy? I don't think so. That's not it. So where does the energy come from? In my research, we're trying to find the answer to this question. It's not as simple as there's just one thing. And there's a lot of different philosophies and different structures and psychological structures that they try to answer this question. One of which would be like from science base. They try to answer this from a science base, and they say, where does the energy come from? And then you'll start hearing words like mitochondria, which are basically energy sources within our cells. And so there are certain activities that you can do, certain supplements that you can do to stimulate more energy from that standpoint. But what I found, what works, is in when I was researching the longevity. So if you want to live for a long time, I read a bunch of books on longevity. And the interesting thing that I found with that is that the number one thing that extended life upwards of 30%. And so let's just, before we go into what that is, let's just get a grasp of what that means. So 30%, if you were to live to be 100 years old, if you were able to live 30% longer, that's 30 years. It's a big difference. So 30% is a huge, dramatic, life-extending opportunity if you take advantage of this. And the one thing that was common with all the studies is calorie restriction. So eat less. And actually the recommendations are about 1/3 of what the American's diet consists of. 1/3 of what we actually eat. So the recommendations are actually to eat one meal a day, not three, one meal, if you want to live, that is. But who's going to do that? Who's going to make that decision? Who's going to sacrifice? Who's going to eat just one meal a day? The people that really want to live longer. The people that they have this strong why. Why do you want to live longer? What's the point? Well, I want to see my great grandkids. I want to be around. I want to be able to do things. I want to see more in the world. You got to have a strong why. Why do you want to live longer? Because it's not good enough to just live longer. It's about living longer with a functional lifestyle. Something that works for you. That there's a reason to keep living. Like, what's the point in living if you're stuck in a wheelchair, you can't move, and you're just sucking resources off of everybody. People have to do everything for you. What's the point in living? Nobody wants to be a drag on everybody else. Nobody wants that. So who cares if grandma lives to be 100 if she's like stuck in bed for the past 20 years? Then she's just a drag on the resources. Nobody wants to take care of her. Nobody, then you feel bad that you don't go visit her and do stuff. I mean, nobody wants that. So don't be that grandma. Be that grandma that when you're 100 years old, you're still up walking, around the block every day. You're still drinking your water. You're still eating healthy foods. Be that person. Be that example for your kids, because see what happens if you're able to live to an extended long age. It's going to inspire your kids. Then your kids will believe, oh shit, it's possible. Holy crap. The government's been telling me the average lifespan is 80 years old. What's this nonsense? Or 70 something. Why should I work so hard if I'm going to die at 70 something? Well, I'm telling you, what if you can live till you're 100? And then what if it proves to your kids that it's possible to live even longer? Like, this is what people are realizing now, that we're able to take care of our bodies in a way to extend our lives much longer than we thought was possible. Much longer. Not just a little bit longer, much longer. So the people that are alive today, so you're in your 40s and 50s today, you can start doing things that will extend your life. This is real stuff, like real changes that are happening. But if you're the type of person that you've been doing bad things that have basically, like smoking cigarettes, for example, that compounds, we all know that. And by the time you smoke for 20, 30 years, you get cancer. And then it's downhill from there, right? So there's things that you can do in your lifestyle that will change the outcome in the future. So now you can't predict exactly what's going to happen, but you can affect the outcome. Sure, it's possible. So, doing liposuction, and we see these individuals that get this huge life transformation. It's super exciting to watch, super exciting. I love watching it. It's so much fun to be a part of. However, if they don't commit to this stuff for the long term, you see them, they're like a shooting star. They pop up, then they go back down. They pop up, yeah, I'm all skinny, and they do this for like a year or two or something like that, and then they go back to their old lifestyle, and then it's just a matter of time. They start fading away. They start hiding again. They're not showing off. They're not in public anymore. It's because they feel embarrassed, right? They haven't lived up to their own standard. Now, what's right? What do you want to do with your life? And this is just a choice that you get to make. We all get to make. And you get to choose whether you want to live this active lifestyle when you're abundance of energy and you can do things and you're mobile and you're functional and you're happy and you're not hiding. You can be that person or you cannot. The choice is always yours. Free will, right? So at some point in your life, you're like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of living this life where I do everything for everyone else and I never have anything for myself. I never have time to work out. I never have time to meditate. I never have time to read a book to educate myself. I never have time to exercise and do the things that I want to do that are right for you. Nobody else is going to do that stuff for you. If you don't eat right, no one's going to eat right for you. If you don't exercise, nobody's going to exercise for you. If you're not drinking that water, nobody's going to do it for you. Look, there's certain things that you have to do yourself. If nobody else does them, you're going to suffer. And the choice is always yours. And see, the problem is when people start making excuses like, I don't have time for this stuff. Well, the only reason that you don't have time for that stuff is because you are not the priority. You've made other people the priority. And then you tell yourself that you don't want to be selfish. And that's what selfish people do. But that's bullshit. Selfish people die early. I'm sorry. Unselfish people that don't take care of themselves, they die early. I would happily be called selfish and live, another 20, 30 years longer and be functional because I took care of myself. And if you want to take care of everyone else and don't take care of yourself, then you die young. Everybody else is then the people that you were taking care of, all of a sudden you can't take care of them. So who wins there? What happens to those people? You've enabled them to live a life where they can't take care of themselves. You've enabled them to live a life where they can't take care of themselves. Moms do this to kids all the time. You do everything for them. You do their grocery shopping, you do their laundry, you pay their rent, you get a car for them, you remind them to show up places, you do everything for them. And what does that do? It makes an adult that doesn't do shit for themselves. And maybe you were one of those adults that your parents did everything for you, and it's hard for you. It's a struggle now. But you got to start changing your habits and start doing the things that are necessary for you to succeed, not for someone else to succeed. And here's the interesting thing. When you start helping yourself, you fill your own cup, you get better, you get stronger, you get more motivated, you get happier, you have more energy. Once you get that, you have so much more to give to other people. So much more. And so it's like a slowdown. So like maybe you have to, for a period of time, you're not helping other people as much. And in that time, you're growing, you're expanding, you're getting bigger, you're getting better. And then eventually you can start giving back again. But you got to take care of yourself. And then you have to implement in your life habits that take care of yourself. So what does that mean? It's like, if you're saying I can't, I don't have time to work out, or I don't have time to do these things. If I don't have time to work out, I don't have time to read, I don't have time to meditate. Well, there's time in the morning. Go to sleep earlier at night. What are you doing at night that's really important? Most people, you're just watching TV, killing time. So you stay up till 11, 12 at night, and you spent 2 hours doing nothing, 3 hours doing nothing but watching TV and killing time. So go to sleep earlier, wake up earlier, do all the stuff in the morning, your workout, your meditations, your reading, your whatever you want to do. All that time when you said you didn't have time for doing things, that's your time. Wake up earlier. Stop wasting it late at night. Or maybe you're a late night person, that's the way you want to roll. Do all the stuff at night. Instead of watching TV and killing time, use that time. Okay, you got to start utilizing your time. Time management becomes important. Okay, Carla says, I'm a teacher, so I'm loving today's live. Oh, good to hear. Okay, Smoochie, I'm glad I clicked on this. Good, I'm glad I brought some value to you. And the cool thing is like these individuals that are getting the value, like I'm speaking directly to you. And it wasn't like by chance you clicked on this. It wasn't by chance that you came across me. There's a need, and you were attracted to me for a specific reason. You were attracted to me because I can solve the problems. So I can solve some of your problems. But more importantly, sometimes you just need to be tuned up, right? Get on the right frequency, the right tune, and start thinking the right way. Because sometimes it's just the way that you think that will stop you from making the right decisions. So if your thought process is, I'm just doing the bare essential, I just want to lose 5 pounds for that wedding, or I just want to fit into whatever I want to fit into, you have to set more long-term goals. If your short-term thinking is that you just want to hit your short-term goals, and then after that you can go back to the old way, it doesn't work. Change does not work that way. Your results are going to be equivalent to the actions that you put into it. And if you do the same actions, you're going to get the same results. If you want to change the results, then you have to change the actions. It's really not that complex. It really isn't. And when you say it's hard, it's really not that hard either. It's hard. It's hard no matter what you do. It's hard. Being overweight and limited, that's hard. Living that lifestyle is freaking hard. It's frustrating, it's depressing, it's limiting, you have no energy, there's so many limitations. That's hard. So when you talk about the other hard, where having to work out or having to eat a certain diet, or having to to be more conscious, be more aware, that's not easy. But which hard do you want? Do you want the hard that's putting you in the right direction, or do you want the hard that's putting you in the wrong direction? And these are just the choices. And all I'm doing here is I'm kind of positioning things in a way that you can see it in a different way. And if you can see the way that you're thinking in a different way, then maybe you can change the way that you think. And that's all I'm trying to just position the ideas in a little bit different patterns here, a little bit different views, so you can take a look and see what you're doing, and then how you've tried to make changes in the past. Because what I've seen in these patterns of individuals is there's certain patterns that they create, certain things that they do, certain mindsets that they adopt. And when they adopt these certain mindsets, it allows them to make certain decisions. And I know I'm being vague, But when you start living this mindset of I want to live my best life, then it's as simple as this. Is doing this living my best life? You'll ask yourself. And if the answer is no, don't do it. And if the answer is yes, then go ahead and do it. And maybe it's okay. Yeah, hey, eating this cheesecake here, this is a celebration. This is living my best life. Maybe that's what it is. But maybe your goal is different at the moment. Maybe your goal is to, achieve these hourglass figures and get these, shapes and, get more confidence. Maybe that's your goal. Then when you start saying, hey, am I living my best life? And you see yourself in the mirror and your SpongeBob SquarePants, and you're like, hell no, that's not my best life. I can do better. You can do better. You know you can do better. It's just a question of, do you want to? And if you want to, then you got to be willing to do whatever is necessary. And that means working. You got to pay the price. There's a price for everything. I'm not talking monetary price here. There's a price that you pay, in whether it's your time, your efforts, your hard work, your discipline. There's a cost. And it's all your choice. All right, there's a couple questions here on Instagram. Let me see if I can run through these. Okay, after lipo, is massage needed, and does the clinic provide this massage? So, massages are not, and I'm going to be careful with the words that I use here. So massages are not needed per se. So you don't have to get a massage after liposuction. However, many people like them. And many people believe that the lymphatic massages are beneficial after liposuction, and that they help reduce the healing time, that they improve and reduce the swelling. So there's many benefits that people experience through this. They say that it gets smoother results. However, I've been doing this for 15 years, and the lymphatic massages is something that has been more prevalent in the last 5 years. And it seems like people believe that they're more necessary than they were in the past. Now, there's two reasons for that. Either someone's making money on it, or they actually help. And I don't really know the answer to that. And there's probably a combination of both. So does our clinic cover it? So we don't have, we have a lymphatic suit that we put you in, a compression suit. So most of our patients are flying in from out of state, and they come in and they stay here for 2 days afterwards. So we'll do a follow-up in our office, and we have this compression suit that basically compresses you and helps us with the circulation. Now, we have a lymphatic masseuse that's in town here that if you want to utilize her, she's available, and she also has a recovery house. So if you're coming from out of state and you're coming by yourself and you need somewhere to stay and you want someone to help take care of you, this recovery house is awesome, and it's reasonable prices. So that would cover you while you're here, but when you go back home, that's when I would suggest that you look up to see if there's any lymphatic masseuse near you, and make arrangements after the procedures for you to go to a lymphatic masseuse close to your house. Okay, 08 Deluxe Harley. That's a pretty cool name. I like Harleys. I always try and bring the knowledge. This is one of those things. This is, when I was speaking about earlier, when you take care of yourself. So this is one of those situations where I've educated myself far beyond school. Like, school got me to like a level down here, but all the stuff that I've been researching, like on longevity, on health, and mindset changes, all this stuff is in addition to schooling, and it's books. I read a ton of books, ton of books. Over 120 books a year, a lot of books. So the information is there, and it's because I put in the time to benefit myself, that the knowledge is just overflowing in my head, and that's why I can get up here and I can speak on this stuff, and it just flows out of me because be honest with you, I don't have to think about it anymore because I've mastered a lot of this knowledge, and that's where I'm able to implement it in my life, and then help not only that, show others how to implement it in their life. And that's where this taking a complex ideas and packing them into a small bite-size nugget where you can take this information and apply it to your life. And that's really my goal. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So you don't do tummy tucks, only lipo. Yes, that is accurate. Even on individuals like this right here, there's no cutting, no tummy tuck. We're going to be done here shortly, so get your questions in. Okay. Yeah, so yummy me, no tummy tucks. We utilize a Smart Lipo laser for skin tightening in conjunction with the liposuction. What we found is a specific techniques that we do in a removal of the fat allows for the skin to tighten up dramatically. And I think that many of the other doctors that you see, that they simply don't do enough liposuction, which doesn't allow for the skin to tighten up appropriately. So it is a technique, not just doing liposuction, it's a technique that gets the skin to tighten up. And not only just tighten up, but tighten up in a fashion that it's smooth and has, you know, appealing look to it. Again, no tummy tuck. It's incredible. It's incredible, and we've done it, you know, so many times now. It's not just like a maybe it'll happen, I wonder if it'll happen. It happens every time. Polly Cake says every live is like a motivational speaking. You know, the funny thing is I've been to so many of these motivational speaking events. Like I've been to all of Tony Robbins events. I've taken all these different courses, like these public speaking courses, and I've learned all these things, and that's why you guys are able to benefit from this stuff, because it's like going to Tony Robbins conference. I'm able to utilize his knowledge and his experience and put it in a way that, you know, is more relevant to you. So it's pretty cool. I enjoy doing this. I like talking about this stuff because I think the motivational stuff has helped me. Particularly, I really like quotes, so you'll see lots of quotes that I like to share. And the quotes for me are a way to pack in a lot of information into a small bite-size chunk. So let's see. Do you do fat transfer to the breasts? Absolutely. So fat transfer is a simple process of taking fat from one area and transferring it to another. It's your fat. So there's a very little chance of rejection. When we talk about rejection, our body will reject things that are not of our body. So like when you get a blood transfusion, the blood's not from your body, so our body will naturally fight against it. And so that's why we try to do blood transfusions specifically with your type of blood. When we do heart transplants, kidney transplants, all these things of transplanting organs, your body will reject the organ since it's not from your body. It always happens. Your body will reject it. However, with the fat transfer, it's your fat. So your body doesn't reject it, which means you get a much more fat that stays. It's an awesome procedure. Now, the limitations of the fat transfer is that for the breast in particular, if you have a specific shape to your breast, filling it out with the fat and getting the fat transfer will allow us to fill in spaces like, for example, if you lose volume on the upper part of the chest, we fill volume up there, which gives you more cleavage, and it makes it appear that the breasts sit higher up on the chest. But the limitation is such that if you have a certain shape to the breast, adding more volume to the fat is simply just going to expand and make it a bigger version of what it is. And I've used this analogy before to, like, if you're going to Disneyland and you get a Mickey Mouse shaped balloon, the Mickey Mouse shaped balloon is never going to be oval. It's never going to be, it's Mickey Mouse shaped. So no matter how much air you put in there or take out, it's always going to be Mickey Mouse shaped. So whatever shape your breasts are, that's what shape they are. We can add and change the volume a little bit in different places, but it's not going to take a Mickey Mouse shaped breast and make it oval. This doesn't happen. Okay, but if you have a nice shaped breast, we add the volume and it gives you, basically it enhances and makes your breast bigger. All right, I hope I answered all your questions today, Smoochie. I appreciate you for asking all those questions today. I hope I got the answers for you. If you guys have more questions, I'll be here again probably later this week. If you are ready to make this life transformation, I really only want people that are ready to make the transformation, because I know that in order to get the best results, you have to transform everything in your life. So if you're ready, and you know who you are, if you're ready, the next step is getting your consultation. So up on Facebook, we have in the post, you can click on the link there to schedule your consultation. On Instagram, it's up in the profile. On YouTube, it's also in the profile. And if you can't find them there in any of those places, go to our website, myshapelipo.com. But if you're ready, get your consultation. I want to work with you. I want to help you. I want to help change your life, because it's the stories like this, these journeys that I've been able to be a part of. That's what keeps me doing this stuff. That's why I do this, is to really see the results on the long term. That's exciting for me. It's not exciting when someone comes to me and then a year later they want liposuction again in the same areas. That pisses me off so much. I don't even want to talk to you. It is like I'm just frustrated that I did all this work and it's all for nothing. And you should feel the same way. If it bothers me that way, it should bother you even more. And I hope that it does. And I'm talking about this because I'm hoping that it's going to bother you, that you don't want to waste your time to come spend a bunch of money and get a procedure that you just eat like crap the next year and it's all for nothing. All right, Sandra, where can you upload pics for the consultation, and how far are you out on appointments? So Sandra, we have a paid consultation where it will expedite you and we'll get you in within a few days, and that consultation is directly with myself or with Kale. The free consultations that we offer, they're booked out for a few months and they are with our employees. So the choice is yours. It's $100 you get with me directly, and typically those are people that are serious. And if you're not that serious, and the free consultations are, you'll get your quote somewhere down the line. But if you're serious and you're ready to move forward, it's $100, and it's going to come off your procedure costs anyway, so it ends up being, for free if you're serious. So get your consultation. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back later this week.